Kids all settled in?
Got them all settled in. Let's just say that we didn't let any grass grow under my feet.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's 4:03, and I'm gonna call this meeting, RCH Board, to order. First thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes from last month. If, you have a chance.
I've read through them,
Okay.
and I have, so I'd make a motion to approve. I second.
All right. Just a second, we're all good. Terry, I made an extra copy if you need it.
Oh, yeah, I got it. I was gonna use it off my phone here, so that's good.
I saw you, looked like you're kind of struggling there.
I was looking there.
All right, brings us to member comments. Chris, if you don't mind helping me out. All right, first one is Bryan McNeal.
For short people. Good afternoon. First I wanted to say thank you to the board, Mr. Naylor, Robin. I appreciate all the hard work you've been doing. Wanted to point out some of the strides as a member that I've seen made. For instance, working with the North Texas Municipal Water District openly and transparently. Definitely appreciate that as a member. I love the transparency and the reaching out to the community that y'all been doing. That is awesome. It just shows the informative and open honesty that we expect from board members, and y'all have hit that on the head every time. I also wanted to point out some of the things that I do know or that I've seen or heard, and it's just a shame, all the PIRs that we're facing or public information requests, whether it be from the same individuals over and over and over again. I can only imagine the excessiveness and the cost and the problems that that's causing. I can tell you, I hope as a board that y'all look into that, because what you can do is start limiting that, because if it is the same person over and over, you actually have that right to start tailoring back on meeting those requests when they become excessive like that. It should be something y'all should look into. Also want to point out that the same people who ask a lot of questions to the RCH board, I find it so funny that they don't ask the same of the city, which is ironic. But lastly, I wanted to touch base that I have had the opportunity to speak to Jackie Pullen, Steve Hatfield, and a couple of other past board members. And they're not bad people, but there are those that have done all they can to diminish their deeds for the city, and they have forgotten that they served on city councils, they served as mayors, they did things to help the city grow. And since one mishap or two, we're gonna now diminish someone's reputation. It's funny how you can't seem to find the good things about them anymore when at one time you did. My last point is RCH isn't living in the past. They don't live there anymore. It'd be like a robber going to rob my old house. You're gonna take someone else's property because I'm not there. That's all you guys do, and I appreciate it.
All right, Mike Easter.
Well, the microphone's about right, so I guess that makes me a short person, which is fine. Anyways, I agree with a lot of what Bryan just said, and I would like to see more transparency by this board to continue. For example, just on this agenda, we're talking about this approval of the long-term potable water contract. We're talking about the approval of a resolution and approval of some RCH board government resolutions. But no one's had an opportunity to look at any of this here today. So I'm wondering if part of the transparency and honesty that you guys can start posting that, much like the city does, with this agenda, so it gives us all an opportunity to look at these documents before we get to hear you decide vote on it. We can't provide meaningful input unless we know what's before it. And so that's the real concern that I've got. And as far as PIR requests, if they're excessive, I think it might be an indicator that you're not providing information to people. So they have to ask you for it. And so contrary to what Bryan said, if you can stop it, I think that that's really frustrating members' ability to understand what's going on. And I think if that's what you decide to do, I think it's going to further taint this board and be indicative of its entrenchment and unwillingness to provide information to the members. So with that, I would really like it if going forward you can start posting these documents that we're going to talk about at these meetings. Thank you.
All right. So all right, that's all the member comments, and then that brings us to operations report. Ron, do you have that? Yeah. So the director's report was included. Is there any comments, questions? I guess.
Water sold this month was $39,649,800. Do I need to do this?
I think
Usage.
I think one of the questions, I mean, it's not necessarily operations, but we're transitioning the building back. I saw the release that's, so all of the Aqua building will be rolled into our system.
Correct, it's being integrated as we speak, and it'll be fully complete at the end of this week. It'll be totally RCH handling moving forward.
Okay. And we've got the new phone number on the website.
All new phone numbers, there's new emails, and on the contact page, who you need to contact for billing or operations, requests for service, all that is available now, and you can always call in the office and get the answers.
Okay. And then online they can sign up for.
They can sign for alerts, so it'll be set up where they can make credit card payments. They'll all be set up for e-check. They can go by the office. They can mail it to RCH. So we're gonna have 5 or 6 different ways to be able to pay the bills, make it easier for them.
Okay. And so we got a bill. This should be getting a bill probably here in the next few days.
Yeah, it should be any day if they haven't already. We'll have the RCH address on it, and will be mailed to RCH.
Okay.
Moving forward, and it'll be card form. Moving forward, it will be in a letter form with bill inside, for a little bit more privacy, and that way they don't get lost in the mail.
Yeah. And then, so anybody needs to play catch up or whatever, we'll work with them.
Absolutely.
And that's,
Call in, there will be no late fees or anything during this, while we transition over, make sure we take care of customers.
okay. Y'all have any questions for us?
Clarification question, so when will the ability to do credit card and?
Should be at the end of this week, first of next week, they'll be able to call in and do that. And they can also, if they sign up for the alerts, we'll send out a thing letting them know, like, well, hey, this is up and available, and that way they know. Or if they do have questions, they can always go to the website and call us.
So starting in about 10 days, they should be able to handle
Yes,
their.
by next Monday or
payment
Tuesday, absolutely.
in whatever fashion.
Yes, we're just waiting for that data that was from Aqua to be imported from last month, so everything's current, and that way we can address any concern they have.
I do want to say I appreciate all the strides that have been made, and David, I want to thank you again for trying to guide this ship pretty much alone for a while, but especially you, Robin, all the hard work. I think I saw the email communication go out today, and I don't think a lot of people realize what goes into setting up a system like that and getting it functional. And you and your staff have done a great job, so I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, yeah, there's a lot of us behind that to get it.
Right, I appreciate that. I do have a couple questions about the financial report. Is this a good time to ask them or no?
Yeah.
So can you just explain a little to me about what the 32K in total adjustments is, what's that number comprised of? Is that reimbursements back to customers, or what is that?
Yeah, so we've had some people that have called up and had some billing disputes or what have you, and that's what that's gonna be.
Okay. And then the other question I have is, of according to this report, we have approximately about 643K in receivables that are outstanding. And one of the things I know is a very touchy subject with all the membership is billing, and we've proven that we're taking the right steps, going in the right direction. Do we kind of have a plan on how we plan on going and trying to get some of those receivables caught up, knowing that this is a very sensitive topic with a lot of our customers? But obviously 643 is a lot of money out there. So do we have a plan, or is that something we can formulate a plan on in the coming months?
Yeah, so I think, I tell you, for the people that I've talked to, everybody's been willing to pay what they owe. The question is what do they owe, and there's been some disputes with what Aqua's calculated and some of the meters and all that. We've had I know a handful of folks who have basically said, well, look, when RCH gets their billing back up, we'll pay RCH. We don't want it to go anything to Aqua. So my expectation is this next, let's see, if I remember right, December 27th is when RCH will send the bill out. And basically at that point in time is when we'll start ramping up the efforts to make sure, to the extent that they haven't already. You know, and it helps too. Now we've got Misty's there at the office answering the phones. So I'm expecting that number's going to go down pretty quick.
And just in closing, to address the membership that is here, I think there again, have patience with us as we continue to get through this. Like I said, there was a lot of work being done by Robin and his team. And I know within the next few months, we'll have all this billing under control, but I know there's a lot of angst, anxiety, but I ask for your continued patience as we continue to work through this.
All right. Anything else on the operations report? All right, that brings us to approval of new board members. So we've got one to be seated today, and it's I'm recommending Geoffrey Kemp to take a spot, and he's going to be taking Jackie Poland's spot. So technically, I don't know that I've warned him about this or not, but it means he'll be secretary treasurer for now. But according to our bylaws, board elections for officers is in January, and so it's not. I don't think it's that big a deal. I say that without having asked. Asking for forgiveness rather than permission, I guess I'll put it that way. But you know, Geoffrey's he's been a member of RCH for 16 years, and he's actually got an architecture degree. So you know, I don't know if that includes building water towers or not, but you know, he's got over 30 years of project management and IT. And, you know, he's been doing a lot of stuff, code compliance, even has his own company. So. That's my recommendation. If there are any questions, otherwise I'll entertain a motion.
Well, I just want to say, I think, once again, you're being very tenacious about making sure that we bring the right kind of talent on this board. I'm not trying to brag on myself in no way, but I know Terry's background and your background, and I know Geoffrey Kemp's background. So I think that he would be a good addition. So I make a motion to approve Geoffrey Kemp as the new RCH board member.
I would second.
All right. Motion second, and that's so. Geoffrey, you're welcome to take your seat. Congratulations on being secretary treasurer as well.
Start now.
We got you taken care of.
Okay. I'll have to throw you in the fire right away.
Like I said, bylaws require us to do the board elections, and Kyle, correct me, it's January, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you would not like to do that, that's fine.
That's fine.
We can take care of it then. All right, so that brings us to the approval of and discussion of I'm not gonna read the whole thing, the North Texas water contract. I think we will post the contract. I think we'll post it tomorrow. Just to kind of give you some background, I mean, these contracts are pretty standard. You can look at any customer contract in North Texas and take the name out and put in whatever the usage requirements are, and they're all pretty identical. I'll give you a little bit of background on on the contract, at least on the numbers and where they come from. Tyler Hendrickson, our engineer, he developed a forecast. So becoming a customer of North Texas, you basically have to do a 50-year forecast. It takes a while to build a lake if they need to build a lake. So, they're trying to look out for that, and in terms of what their needs are, even though we know forecast is not right, probably for next year, but you got you work with what you got and do the best that you can. So all these numbers came from Tyler's projections. The minimum that's there actually is with the City of Rockwall, so embedded in the City of Rockwall's contract is the North Texas contract has a minimum demand that you're gonna take or pay, and then it ramps up from there. So Rockwall worked with us to figure out what the minimum allocated to Rockwall was for RCH. And so, we pulled out of their contract, and that's where the one that's come in here. The way the North Texas rate works is you pay a charge for that minimum, and then anything above that's is an incremental cost. To kind of give you some perspective, for 2024, their customer wholesale rate is $3.74 per 1,000 gallons. To give you a reference point of that, we're currently paying Rockwall $4.12 per 1,000 gallons. Now, Rockwall's gonna go up on us. Robin and I met with Mary, and she said, hey, North Texas rates have gone up to them, so they're gonna pass that through to us. But at least, we don't have a formal notice, we just know they're gonna go up, but at least, again, 374 versus 412, so there is a reduction there that we're gonna see. The projected usage that's in here as well, just to give you again some ballpark, it's around 830 something million gallons. That gives us a projection, based on the projected usage that we have, that actually takes us out to 2030. And as you saw in the contract, both the minimums and the max can be adjusted as we need to over time.
Is that negotiable every year, or how's that work?
So they'll look at your usage, and there's a mechanism each year that they reevaluate, and then if it needs to be adjusted, we can adjust. Last year, again, put this in perspective, last year we used 400 million gallons. We're on pace to use that again this year, so we're over 800 in the max in the contract, so we've got some room to grow there, and so I think that's kind of a quick high level. Well, that's probably not quite that high level, but so questions?
I don't have any questions. I've got more statements. I was interested. I knew there was a take or pay, which there always is on that.
Right.
I just didn't know what kind of number that would be. So you've clarified that already. The contract even goes to include the 4CP, which you and I understand very clearly, which is for their electrical demand. There's an electrical demand that they're paying, and so that gives them some wiggle room in the contract, which I found that very interesting.
Right.
It went to that level.
So and Terry, most everybody else doesn't even care, but you and I will. So they actually have their own energy group, and
Not surprising.
And so they act the way that they buy and sell their power. They try to incentivize and look to pump, to avoid those extra charges.
Yeah, most entities that use as much power as they do have gone to that length.
Yep.
And so they manage that 4CP, which is consecutive peaks during the 4 peak months of the year.
The summer months.
The summer months.
June through September.
It's just a lot of jargon, but that's,
Yep.
so they're trying to manage that, which I understand that. I just found that interesting that they went to that level in their contracts. I thought I had one other comment. No, I think you covered it because, I did have, this is more of a question, as I understand the process, and I'm not an expert on it, is that we sign the contract and it goes back to them, and their staff takes it at that point in time, and then it gets on the North Texas board's agenda.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. We have so if we approve this today, we have a commitment from North Texas, it will be on their December board meeting agenda.
Correct.
So by Christmas, we should have a fully executed contract.
Very good. That's all I have.
Well, I had all these questions and they've already been answered, but I do have a few, so I appreciate there again, us being in agreement and getting this thing moving forward. I do have a couple questions though. When it comes to constructing this new pipeline to North Texas's Take Point, I know we have our engineer involved. Have we determined the size of the pipeline that we need, and is that going to be adequate for future growth?
So, 18-inch pipe. And I guess I should mention too, the Take Point location, we actually have under contract. The pipeline generally is gonna be down Cuban Road, as far as where it's gonna come up. But we've got that property under contract. The only reason we haven't honestly closed on it is the property owner requested to wait till after the first of the year for tax purposes. And that's not gonna mess up any of our timing or anything, so. But we got full access to the site as far as, we got the geotech that's been done.
Geos, the final surveys, all that's moving forward.
Yeah.
Testing.
So, it's not here, he leases it out for cattle right now, so. But yeah, we do have that under contract, so that helps, but so it's an 18-inch pipe. We're asking for a 30-foot easement with the idea, Chris, that we can put another 18-inch, pipe there for future growth if we need to.
Okay. This one's kind of budget related, and I know we still have to have those conversations, but I think one of the things I would like to make sure that we're cognizant of is the contract did say that the water rates can be adjusted pretty much at any time, and there's nothing we can do about that. But I would say that, when we come to the budgeting, we probably keep that in mind and make sure when we budget, we put adequate dollars in there to compensate for any kind of increase. But yeah, you guys answered the rest of my questions, so thank you.
Yeah.
Geoffrey, you have any?
Chris, I'll tell you, so North Texas practice is, their rate approval process, basically, the board of directors has to approve any rate increases. And I guess technically they have to approve a decrease as well, but I don't know if that's ever happened.
Right.
But they typically, it's a once a year. You can actually look on their website, you'll see, so this last year was the first year they raised it in a couple of years. They had kept them steady. Yeah, they look at that. Of course, North Texas just built Bodoc Reservoir and pump station, and they're in the process of building a remedy treatment plant up at Leonard too, so.
Yeah, we went through the same thing when I was on city council in Murphy. We'd get notified that they're gonna raise rates. We'd always had justification behind, like new reservoirs and things like that, so. It's to be expected. I just want us to be mindful when we go to budget, so.
Absolutely.
No, you've already answered my questions, so in between.
Well, with that, I will entertain a motion to approve the North Texas water contract.
I would so move that we approve the contract.
Second?
A motion and a second, any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Unanimous.
I don't know why you would not. I do appreciate everybody's work. This has been obviously we've needed this for a while, and it's nice to actually now have something in place. So. All right, so then that brings us to the resolution, banking signatures. So with the refresh of the board, Robin now being general manager, there's a resolution included basically that would add Robin to the banking signature authority. We've also tweaked, before we had the names of the officers. Actually, I guess the last time it wasn't all the officers, it was Steve Hatfield was on it. He wasn't an officer, but what we've done is made it basically the board president, secretary treasurer, and the general manager. That's the authorization, and again, this helps Robin get up to speed to be able to actually do what he's supposed to
Run
do.
operations.
And I don't have to be paid.
Exactly.
Any comments, questions on that resolution?
think I just want to bring one topic up for discussion, just to make sure we're all on board. I have no problem with the $100,000 limit.
So if I can,
That's the next agenda.
That's the next agenda.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'd jump ahead. Okay. I'll wait.
this is just getting the sale.
Okay.
Protocol.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to pass.
Second?
All right, motion second, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so that brings us to, these government resolutions, and so let me, Chris, I appreciate your comment, let me tee this up a little bit here. So, RCH is kind of moving, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is serve our members and put Robin in a position to succeed. We've had a situation in the past where the board has either not done what they should have done or leaned on Robin Bailey, and we've had some challenges through all of that. What we're trying to do, and what I'd like to do, and what I'm basically proposing here with these governance documents, is give a clear delineation of what is the responsibility of the board, which basically set policy, strategic direction, and what's resolved, what's over here for Robin to take care of. And which is, again, the day-to-day operations, executing whatever strategy we approve and the policies, and everybody knows. So I don't want us to be in a ditch where the board is directing everything in the weeds, because that's not gonna work. By the same token, we can't be in the other ditch where we're just trusting Robin to do everything, and we don't have any of that checks and balances. And so we've gotta be somewhere here in the middle of the road, making sure that, again, Robin can do what he needs to do to operate, because we don't need to be dictating how the company is run. If we got a problem with how Robin's handled it, we'll talk to him and address it in that manner, but that's not, that's not where we need to be. So, that's the whole deal here of the policies. What I'd like to do, though, as well, is, Robin's, there's still we don't have a full staff yet. We're still in that process of ramping things up, getting things in place. And so, it's a matter of, I want us to partner with Robin, if you will, and kind of help him. So for example, I think one of the things I think would be useful is for, now as we're getting a developed board, and I know all of us want to be involved and help the way that we can, is can we kind of have I'll call it a point person. We're not gonna do committees, we're too small to do committees, and it's not exclusive, that doesn't help anybody. We need to be transparent and talk and be able to talk. But, for example, we need to modify our bylaws, and there's some regulatory things associated with that. So, I think it'd be helpful if we had one board member who was kind of, headed that piece up, if you will, working with Robin, working with the attorneys to get involved where it needs to be done there. We've got a planning aspect of things, making sure that, we're, as Tyler and his folks are doing the engineering analysis, are we comfortable with that? And, it's just some oversight. Again, not getting into the weeds of it, but helping direct, and just make sure that we can all look at each other and then look membership in the eyes and say, look, we're doing our fiduciary duty, we're very comfortable with what's going on, we understand, and at least we have a working knowledge of it. So the ones that I kind of had, and I'm open to categories as well, but I was thinking operations, administration, regulatory, planning, and then financial, if we, and there's gonna be some overlap on all of these for sure, but those are the kind of ones I was thinking of. So that's a little bit of a long-winded explanation of at least what I'm thinking of into the policy. Now, in the policy, Chris, as you to try to get to your question explicitly, there is basically any discretionary spending up to $100,000, Robin will be able to do that. I do expect that as we continue to develop, we'll actually have a budget, and that will give us some certainty of what those dollars are. To kind of give you where I kind of come up with this 100,000, RCH roughly brings in about $4 million a year. About 2 million of that is the water bill. So there's 2 million there left over. 100,000 is 5% of that. Is that the right number? I'm not necessarily. I mean, I'm definitely open to making that adjustment. I mean, again, the bottom line is I want Robin to be able to operate the system. I don't know that we have that many bills that arise to that level.
Is it 100,000 per check, or is it 100,000 per year, 100,000 per month? How we tell it, you know? And I just want, I mean, what are your monthly expenses, right? I mean, you gotta pay like.
Right, and I think the
You gotta pay
100,000
gas, and you gotta pay all that other stuff.
Right, I think the 100,000 what he's doing there is giving that limit, because if you have to have some type of major repair, if you have some pumps or something like that, it takes no time by the time you get people on
Yeah,
the policy to
absolutely.
be past the 100,000.
Gotcha, okay.
And he's, basically what that does, it gives me the ability to okay things,
Okay.
and then be able to check in with you guys, I mean, obviously
Right.
moving forward, but allow me to be able to do that and get things done in a quick motion or a special meeting, or when something we know that needs done,
Gotcha.
so.
Yeah, that's, I just wanna understand.
Sure,
the 100,000.
sure, absolutely.
That way you're not going out and buying a new truck every week.
Well, and that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to bring that topic up because that was the only thing, I can't say it was area of concern. I think it was just a topic of discussion for us.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. Alluding to what the rest of what you said, I think it's very important that we do set him up for success. And I think as board members, I would caution us of going to him direct on things. I think there's might be a simple question or whatnot, but I would like to, like I said, not put him in a situation where he's getting direction from 5 different people. I think the best thing to do is, if we have concerns, is run it up through David, whether it be a board meeting or whatnot. But I just want to make sure we're not overwhelming him with requests that he may already be working on. So that's the only thing I would caution us as a board to do. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, I'm in full agreement, and I think this is moving in the right direction. I think as we continue to we got other policies we need to formulate. And so my thoughts go to, we need to be sure that our audit process is correct and that the oversight is in place so that, yes, Robin should be able to do his business, but it's hard to get separation of duties when we're as small as we are. So we've got to work that out so we have separation.
Yep.
And we have the ability to, in working with people, people say, don't you trust me? It's not a matter of trust. It's
Trust but
that
verify.
you have got to
Exactly.
verify.
Exactly.
We want to protect our people. That's the best way we can
Right.
protect our people.
And that
To have the
accountability
change.
needs to be in there, so
Yeah.
that we can all make
It's
sure
not
that
trust,
we move
it's-
forward. Exactly, I agree 100%.
I just have one more question before we, I guess, maybe move to a motion. In the packet, there was a list of, I think, 2 banks, Alliance Bank and I can't remember the other one.
American National.
Okay, I do remember seeing the old board published, it was kind of almost a handwritten note, if you will, a listing of several different bank accounts that was under RCH's control. I guess my question is, are we sure know where all the money is, and are we trying to consolidate that down?
Yeah, so all the accounts that were posted before were either in American National or Alliance.
Okay, they were just listed as
They're
different,
listed.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, to Terry's point, I mean, one of the policies that we probably want to think about is the cash management policy as well.
Agreed. Okay, that's all I have.
All right, well, so I guess, what's the thinking, is there on kind of the point person, if you will, on handling the tariffs? Because I mean, I'd love to get y'all involved in some of this stuff. Is there one that y'all would love?
Oh, wait, as you started the conversation?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I'm gonna
Well,
back
so I
up.
mean, we need, I want to take a motion
Sure.
for the resolution.
Do you wanna do that first or then talk about?
Either way,
Because I'm okay. I would go ahead and maybe we should do the motion.
Okay.
We can talk about
That's
your
fine.
suggestion in a moment. So I would make the motion that we accept the, resolution regarding the governance and board directions, as presented.
so how do we need to take both those?
Let's do them separate, yeah, because there's 2 different
Okay.
So, which you've done,
So
that's the first one.
Well, that's the first one,
So
okay.
good.
Yeah,
Okay, so we got a
you're
motion.
right, it is two.
I second.
All right, any further discussion? All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, so then I'll entertain now a motion on the delegation of duties.
Got it. I make a motion on that as well.
Okay,
Second.
all right, motion second, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, so those resolutions passed, so, all right, so you wanna talk then about,
Right,
The focus.
the suggestion you made, I think that's the way we need to go. You know, one of the things that I want to do is come on here, is I want to be helpful, not create more work. And so sometimes it's a struggle to get that when you're a board, because Robin certainly doesn't need 5 bosses. He may feel like he has them from time to time, but we need to try to limit that as much as we can. So, you know, my direction's gonna go, other than direct questions, it's probably, and I intend to go to you, Dave. But as far as needs as we go forward, a couple of things that I have great interest in is planning, the engineering and planning. That's something I've done over the years. So that, and quite frankly, we're not there yet, but someday we're gonna be talking about, probably 2 years, tariffs.
yes.
We're gonna need
I've got that
to
on my
work on
list too.
tariffs. And so I'm happy to work on any of them, but if you were to ask me, that's probably where I have my interest right now.
Okay. One of the things I would like to suggest, you brought up planning, and, I'm not to get us too far off track, but I think it would be helpful, Robin, if we brought Tyler
I agree.
in and
Yes.
let him talk to us about what the projects we have going on, how the projection of the usage. Can you see what his availability would be in either January or February
For the board meeting.
for the board meeting?
Absolutely.
And that way we can,
I would like to have a good discussion, not only for the board, but for any members that wanna be here to see. Quite frankly, what got us here was
lack of.
lack of. And so it's very important that we bring that to the forefront and that we look at good, and I've seen some of his work. It's not, I started to use the word preliminary, my overview is preliminary. But I've looked at some of Tyler's work, and because what I want to be certain of is that, what are we using for growth projections? Are we using the North Texas, gosh, I just lost the term, North Texas Council of Governments, and that does their projections, and so there's information out there, and it appears that he has done that. And his projections on initial look reasonable. And that's, I'm not questioning his work, that's my ability to look at it. I haven't looked at it in depth yet.
Well, and I think it'd be helpful for
And
all
so,
of us to get some.
that's a lot of words to say. I think it'd be helpful for me and everyone else,
Yeah.
to build, some understanding around that and what work has been done.
Yeah, I'll get this, you said January, February.
Yeah, see, either January or
Sure.
February, whatever his availability is.
Okay.
So, I mean, is there anything, of those lists that if, and that, my list doesn't have to be exclusive by any stretch, I was trying to get some progress categories, I mean, again, we're gonna have to, we need to get the bylaws, updated, and so that'd be one, again, would be good, and then some familiarity on it.
Yeah, I think bylaws, financials, budgeting, tariff and budgeting kind of goes together, but it's really a separate topic. Planning, and the other category that is just regulatory compliance, and that's not TCEQ, but I'm talking about tax code, state code.
The business side of it.
The business side of it, we need to be in compliance.
Yeah, well, I think that would include TCEQs.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Most people, when you say that in your water
Yeah, that's
company, they
right.
think
Yeah.
TCEQ, but
Right.
I'm thinking much broader than that.
Is there any of those that,
But let me ask this question, are you thinking one point person for all of those disciplines, or would we consider disciplines bunch in one group to have somebody that might be stronger in that? I mean, is,
yeah, I think, I'm not wedded to it, I'm just trying to, I mean, again, I think we all wanna help, and so however we need to divvy it up to help, and, I mean, I'm happy to do any and all of it, but I'd like not to.
You have been, and you've done a really good job of it, but you don't need to continue to do that.
Well, you know, I guess keeping in mind that we're trying to not have Robin have 5 bosses, you know, there are some disciplines on the board that are stronger than other board members. So I kind of would like to see us maybe go that route, but there again, I like the idea of just kind of a point of contact. So I'm open either way. And, you know, I'm open to whoever they think might be best for that.
I mean, I don't have a problem, like, with the work plans and budget, doing that. I've been through a lot of M&As and budgeting on an annual basis and stuff like that. And I get where you guys keep saying that Robin doesn't need 5 bosses, but as we develop these committees, we have to have input. And I don't know that
No, I
going
agree.
to David for the input's gonna be the right thing. I mean, especially with budgeting and stuff, to go through and go, okay, how much is the personnel and all that other stuff, so. We wouldn't direct Robin where to go, but give Robin's input for, you
Right,
know, what
and
we need
I
for our
agree with
bylaws
that.
and
I mean, if you
everything.
guys each have your own little wheelhouse, and,
Yeah.
you know,
I think
if
the
I
other
can
thing
give
we
you that
have-
information, then you guys are speaking whatever in that way, it gives a better overview. You guys have that contact with me, so we're all still on the same page, we're still understanding
Yeah.
the information.
And I guess the other thing too, I mean, it's not, we don't have to make a decision
Right.
today by any stretch. I
Start
wanna
thinking about
tee
it.
it up, and,
Mhm.
because again, I mean, Chris, to your point, we have different expertise here, and
Yeah.
how can we plug them in to help?
Cost efficient.
I mean, I like the planning and strategy as well, and
Yeah,
construction,
yeah,
my
and-
backbone.
You know, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
But we'll.
Been involved in all those things, and so I'm
but I don't-
okay with wherever the board needs to help.
Jack of all trades, master of none, so
Exactly.
it's all good.
Well, I think let's just marinate on that a little bit, maybe, because, you know, you got some engineering background, you got budgets and some, and other things there, and then, so I guess let's maybe just marinate on that bit and have a future discussion, but I think that's probably the best way to go.
I think that sounds good. All right. So that brings us to board member comments.
I think we have been.
I was gonna say, I don't have a conditional leave, so,
And I'll just clarify, yes, we all have to ask Robin for things, but my comments were towards directing
Right.
his efforts.
All right,
Questions are one thing,
And I'm good with
direction
that,
is something else.
I'm good with being able to, communicate with you guys, so things can move forward.
yeah, I think that's the key here. And so my day job, I sit in Robin's seat. It doesn't matter, he's got 5 bosses. I mean,
Right.
as much as we try to, I mean, I appreciate the discussion and the color. He's got 5 bosses. Good thing is, it takes 3 votes.
Right.
All right, so nobody had any additional member board comments? All right. Kyle, I don't see any need for another exec session, so, it's 4:46, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?